What is going on, IF Warriors? So today we're going to talk about the top 5 most dangerous foods that you can eat. The foods that generally help push you towards weight gain, heart health, visceral fat increase, things of that nature. Let's go ahead and tackle those food items in this video. All right, so the title says the top 5 most dangerous foods to eat, right? Just to make sure the context is understood when you read a title like this, technically these foods aren't dangerous, right? They're unhealthy foods, especially if you eat large amounts of these or you eat these very frequently. They're definitely unhealthy foods, but dangerous is more akin to foods that will kill you on the spot. Maybe like a puffer fish that is not cooked at the right temperature. Now that is a dangerous food that could actually poison you and kill you right then and there. But these foods can kill you over time and still be somewhat dangerous if you don't tame your craving for these foods. Now, what is the first food item on the list? Well, donuts. And the reason donuts are on here because anything that's highly processed and has a lot of refined sugar is always going to be on a list like this because they tend to be calorie dense, which donuts are. You can find donuts to be anywhere from 300 to about 600 calories. They are essentially deep fried, so they contain lots of oils that lend to that calorie density. Plus, it's made out of white flour and white sugar, so it's just more and more simple carbohydrates that are quickly broken down. They don't take too much time to break down, so they increase your blood sugar. And then just the conglomerate of all of that lends to just more cravings. This is not to say that you can't eat these things. Of course, there isn't any bad food necessarily, but there are foods that are better than others. And donuts is just one of those things that they're really, highly palatable. You really want them, but in the long run, if you eat too many of them, if there's just a high frequency of eating these donuts, they're definitely going to hamper your weight loss journey and even your health. Let's move on to item number 2, or foods number 2. Fried anything. Fried chicken, fried French fries that are fried, I guess. All those things can affect you if eaten in high frequency. The thing is, these deep fried foods are insanely calorie dense for the little bit of it that you get. Literally, like the fries can be up to like 560 calories, and no one's going to any fast food place and getting just French fries. That is very rare, although some people do it, but most people, that is a side order. 560 calories is the side order. The main order is probably like 670 calories. So you get the main order plus the French fries plus everything's fried. Then you probably got some chicken nuggets on top of it. That's probably fried as well. So then by the time you know it, man, just on a meal that you think is insignificant, you're almost north of 2,000 calories. And that's not even putting into effect all of the other things that you've eaten throughout the day. And these things are highly palatable, unfortunately unsatiating, so you get no satisfaction from them. And when you cook foods at these high, super high temperatures, it can elicit certain chemical compounds to come out of the food that can be damaging to your health as well, because these things are deep fried at super high temperatures. So keep that in mind. Anything fried, you're gonna have to limit that as much as you can, because they will also lend to the entire simple carbohydrate kind of spectrum where you want to eat more of it, but you're never actually fully satisfied. Try to shift yourself to more satiating foods like good proteins that make you feel satisfied, but also give you the nutritional value that you're looking for. The next thing that you should limit and not eat, because they're harmful for you in the long term if they're eaten too much, is processed meats. And this you can find in any deli. Let me get a salami, let me get some cut ham, let me get whatever. All of those cut meats, those deli cut meats, are super high in sodium. That's number one. But not only are they super high in sodium, they contain things like nitrates and other chemical compounds that are put together just to try to preserve it for as long as possible. Things that are using lots of different preservatives are always going to be bad for you, because preservatives are chemical compounds that are trying to prolong the lifespan of whatever thing you are trying to eat. So not only are you dealing with those high sodium, you're also dealing with the preservative content that's in those meals. So although they're not going to be super high in calories, they're definitely going to present a health risk if you're eating too much of these processed deli meats. Number 4, frozen meals. This is just like the deli meats, because frozen meals are designed to be kept frozen for long periods of time so that you can pull them out and just eat them whenever. But don't be fooled. They're not being kept there for long periods of time simply because it's frozen in time. They're freezing them, but also adding chemical compounds that are preservatives on top of that. And it also tends to contain a lot of sodium, and all of this helps to preserve that meal so that you can eat it when you defrost it and start to consume it. But it's not really worth it. If you eat a lot of these things, you're gonna get the same kind of issues that you get if you're eating deli meat. It's just all of those preservative content, the high sodium content, is not gonna be good for your body and your blood pressure. You wanna make sure that you're not eating things that contain so much preservatives and so many chemical compounds. So let's go ahead and move on to the 5th and last item: canned soup. Now, soup is actually okay. Soup is actually decent. But when it's canned, for some reason, a lot of canned soup contain an insane high amount of sodium. Now, the good thing with these kind of foods that I just mentioned, kind of these last 3, is that they don't really have that super, addictive dopamine hit type of scenario like, donuts do, or highly processed carbs and highly processed sugar, refined sugar. Those things definitely hit you with a dopamine, so they add to the layers of wanting to continue to eat. So they even add hormonal elements that make you want to eat those things more. But foods that are super high in sodium still cause issues with your blood pressure. They can cause blood pressure issues down the line if you're consistently eating them. And I wanted to put canned soup in here because a lot of people just look at soup and think, well, soup is a good thing. I want soup. Soup has to be good. Isn't it good? Yeah, well, usually when you make it yourself from scratch, it could be good. But when you take it out of a can, it tends to have a lot of sodium in them. So you just have to be careful when it comes to these kind of canned soups and all of the things that I've mentioned on this list, because if you eat these things in high frequency, they're going to affect you negatively health-wise. Now, it's not to say to never eat them. You can eat them, but you have to control and really reduce the amount of times that you consume these items, because they're barely giving you any kind of nutrition at all, and they're adding things to you that cause health issues down the line. You want to make sure you move away from those kind of foods and try to eat more complex carbohydrates that contain a lot of fiber, a lot of high protein meals that help with protein nutrition and satiety, making you feel full. Those are the meals that you want to focus on the majority of the time. These meals, you want to make sure that they're the exception. You don't want to be eating them too much. Hopefully this video has helped you guys. Patrons will be pinned in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one.